You even called drilling safe, environmentally friendly drilling offshore as raping the outer continental shelf. There, with new technology, with tiny footprints even on land, it is safe to drill, and we need to do more of that. Look at these sources of energy here in Florida that are still sitting untapped, and we'll tap into them. Along with environmentally friendly offshore production, we do need to drill here and drill now. Now you can champ the drill, baby, drill. Yeah.
Dear Sarah Palin, since you are so willfully ignorant of the risks of offshore drilling, I thought right about now might be a good time to take a moment and educate you about the risks of offshore drilling. And I'm going to do so by appealing to your heart. No amount of logic or number crunching or science is going to get through to you when it all goes against the word of the corporations that sponsor politicians such as yourself. And I understand that. That's why, instead of an intellectual approach, I've decided to show you on film all of the beautiful wildlife and protected habitats and culture and jobs that are about to be destroyed by the recent oil spill in the Gulf of Mexico. You see, I live down here in the bayou, and in my neck of the woods, drill baby drill just turned into spill giant spill. I hope that when you see all of these disastrous pictures of oil-covered beaches and creatures that are about to come out in the news in the coming weeks, you'll at least have an idea of what my home would have looked like had it not been for drill-happy, money-hungry, reckless politicians and corporations.
These are some pictures taken in the months leading up to this disastrous oil spill in the Gulf of Mexico. These pictures were taken from Calcasieu Parish and Cameron Parish in southwest Louisiana. None of this bayou land is going to be near as beautiful covered in tar from oil spills. Now, we're no strangers to natural disasters. This home was raised because of swells from hurricanes pushing up the ocean water. And this right here is a picture of the Cameron Ferry, and you'll see that as a landmark in the news, only the sides of the road will probably be covered in black. This is Holly Beach, and it is one of the beautiful attractions of Cameron Parish. It is covered in thousands of tiny seashells that must come from thousands of different species of crustacean in the water that are all going to be wiped out by this oil spill. And it is a huge tragedy. These shells represent the huge diversity that comes from this natural habitat. This beach was going to be a summer vacation destination for many of the residents of southwest Louisiana, but instead of stuffing our pockets with seashells, we will probably only be visiting this beach to clean up the oil on it. As for the food culture that this oil spill threatens, a lot of people associate the bayou with backyard crawfish boils. This is a cooler full of crawfish in my backyard. After this oil spill, the only cultural food meat that will still be easily obtainable from the region will probably be crawfish, because most mudbug farms are outside the oil's reach. But that crawfish is going to look very lonely without other seafood to accompany it. A more traditional bayou feast might have any combination of catfish, clams, oysters, or shrimp. This is going to sound a bit like a scene from the movie Forrest Gump. Boiled shrimp, shrimp cocktails, shrimp etouffee, shrimp gumbo, stuffed shrimp. There's 1,000 ways to cook what we catch here. But when the oil hits our coast, there will be no more cast netting for shrimp. There will be no chicken necking for crabs on the side of the road. They will all be contaminated. No redfish, no speckled trout, no flounder. And guess who just might make it back onto the endangered species list? The alligator. Add to this list of oil-poisoned animals anything that eats shrimp in the region. I've spent some time aboard shrimp boats to learn about them. I even volunteered to cull shrimp for a day to get a closer look at the shrimp boat's operations. Shrimpers in the U.S. are already hurting from invasive species that fill their shrimp nets. The most pervasive is the hardhead catfish. It can take up to 50% of each load brought aboard from the shrimp nets. Both native and invasive species alike will be poisoned by this oil spill. In this picture, you can see the flock of seagulls that over the years have developed a conditioned response to the raising of a shrimp net. They know that they are about to get a free lunch from the culling of unwanted bycatch in the shrimp nets. This entire flock of birds will probably die from being covered in oil or from eating oil-contaminated fish. This is probably also true of every duck, loon, oyster catcher, pelican, and heron in the area. At the end of a long day of shrimping, shrimp boats pull into shrimp shacks where the price of shrimp has fallen to between 50 cents and $1.50 a pound because of competition from countries that allow the use of antibiotics in shrimp farming ponds. Such ponds are impossible in the U.S. because of waterborne diseases which hop from pond to pond rampantly, killing off farms without antibiotics. And those antibiotics are not allowed in this country. But for some reason, it's okay for consumers to eat antibiotic-raised shrimp if it comes from another country. The point of all this is that after Hurricanes Katrina, Rita, Gustav, and Ike, and after the prolonged recession that this country's just gone through, and the international competition in shrimping that's forced prices to record lows, shrimpers have now been hit with a canceled shrimping season this year. The boats that aren't docked are being repurposed by the oil company BP to help clean up the oil spill at a fraction of what the shrimpers would have been making. Many shrimpers have been forced out of the trade altogether. This is bad for our jobless situation and our culture. As of this recording, every attempt to cap the oil well that was left gushing by the tragedy of the Deepwater Horizon event on April 22nd has been unsuccessful. They can't find a way to cap that oil well. These are the affected areas projected as of today, if they were to cap it today. These projected areas grow larger and larger every day, an inch closer to my home on the west side of this map. Mrs. Palin, this was one oil well and one accident, and it is about to be the largest natural disaster in U.S. history. It is about to destroy ecosystems and cultures, and it is absolutely not environmentally friendly.